This is Graham Square, which most recently, before we developed it, was the access road into the car auction market in Glasgow. Prior to that, the market area here was developed as a cattle market. It was the principal cattle market for Glasgow, built about 1840, the facade of which is a listed structure which we've retained. And at one time it was the busiest cattle market in Britain outside of Smithfield Market in London. The Gallowgate used to be lined with tenements. It was an urban street, and like many of these great urban Victorian streets in Glasgow, has been decimated by redevelopment and demolition and shops being reduced, buildings being reduced to just shop level. So we were keen to start rebuilding the fabric. All that remained at that time was this tenement down here on the corner, which is in itself a very interesting building. It was built in 1912, so it's one of the last tenements built in the city. We restored the tenement, which had been derelict for about 20 years. And that then left us with this space, which is essentially what it was. The architects that we selected were selected in a variety of ways. We had a design competition, an ideas competition for this site. The committee chose this building by Page & Park, who subsequently were also given the job of designing the space. We then began to look at the Market Hotel, and it was fairly obvious to us that Richard Murphy from Edinburgh would be the ideal architect for it. He's very interested in reusing old buildings, in inserting new bits into old buildings, in making use of difficult spaces. I'm not a great fan of facade retention in the sense of keeping the front of the building and then building something straight onto the back of it, and it pretends it's an old building when it's not really. So McEwan Alexander came up with this rather original idea of simply using their building to support the facade. It's meant to be a remnant of what was here, like a ruin you might find in Rome or somewhere like this.
1, 2, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, rock. 5, 6, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, rock. 9, 10, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, rock. We're going to rock around.
Tom and Leslie moved to Graham Square in October last year. They used to live on the 20th floor in an East End tower block. So what do they like about their new location?
We like the facade of the building. I like the old and the new together. Lots of people think it looks peculiar, but I think it's marvellous. Old Glasgow and new, exciting Glasgow behind it, and especially living here, not just looking at it, but living in it. Rob Joyner described the entrance close, the entrance hall. He described that as a close. This is your close the first time we saw it, and we just thought, we've never seen a close like this in our lives. I mean, it's just fabulous. We can see over the west end of Glasgow, right out to the hills. And then nearer to hand, in the sort of spare ground immediately in front of us, there's a fox living. It's nice to see an urban fox. And we've been watching birds nesting, haven't we?
Yes, yes. Well, living here is very, very nice. Very nice and friendly. Neighbours are lovely, lovely. We couldn't ask for more.
It's like starting over again, isn't it?
Well, it's a new adventure, isn't it? Mm-hmm. And that's it. It really is nice.
And Tom cleans the windows.
I think we can someone else in to do that, by the way, when you see the windows.
Eva Gustafsson moved to Glasgow from Sweden 10 years ago to study at Glasgow School of Art, where she now teaches. She has a one-bedroom flat at Graham Square, which she owns 75% of. She also pays a small monthly rent and can buy her flat outright after a year.
I just thought it was beautiful, and the colours, the materials, very Scandinavian. Just the kind of place that I felt, yeah, I would like to live in a house like that. Well, my flat is facing south, so my son's space is out towards the Gallowgate, but luckily there's no big houses just opposite. It's quite low buildings, and because it's facing south as well, I got lots of light. So I'm growing basils, tomatoes, peppers, and different herbs. What else? Squash. I'm trying squash as well. I like very calm, quiet colours, and I like, you know, dark greys and lights, and yeah, just the kind of natural colours. There is a little dining bit that comes off the lounge. It's really nice because it's actually like a bench between the kitchen and the dining area, so I could stand in the kitchen and cook for my friends, and I could still talk to them without sitting across at the table, so that's good. For once, I really wanted to have a bedroom that's just a bedroom, so I'm trying not to keep anything else in there than apart from what's necessary. In my bathroom, I've got photographic tiles on the floor, grass and daisies, and I've got big poppies on my shower curtain. I've got lots of red things, silly things, just very girly, but nice.
Debbie and Gavin were the first students to rent a flat at Graham Square. They're both in their final year at Strathclyde University, where they study architecture.
My favourite room in the whole house is the living room.
Yeah, the living space kitchen is what makes
just,
it.
Yeah, definitely. Just having that one wall of glass. The sun space, I have a drawing board in there and we both use it, and it's become a little kind of studio just now. So the immediate views from our living area are pretty horrific, aren't they? It's just derelict wasteland.
Well, I mean, during the day it's not the best. At night it's really nice. You can see a lot of landmarks. You know, you can see the Barrowlands. You can see
the necropolis, and you see as far as the Hilton, the top of the city chambers.
Yeah.
There's a lovely skyline.
Too much social housing in this country is third-rate. We are trying to show that housing that is affordable, that is not very expensive to build, can have a certain quality to it. And all the houses here are built for the same costs as any other social housing project in this country.
Good housing makes such a difference to your life. It just makes everybody happy and friendly, and I think in the summer we'll all get to know each other properly now that the good weather's here.